I'm very delighted to introduce our first speaker. Roy Grundmann is an associate professor of film studies and the director of film and television studies program at the College of Communication. Roy focuses on film, and he looks at the modernistic and postmodernistic context. He's published on American and European narrative cinema, international avant-garde film, and film theory and culture theory. What's really cool about Roy is that he's also a faculty and resident at Warren Towers. So can we welcome him? Yay, come on.
Thank you, Karen. So I hope everyone can hear me, and the clock has started to tick. I'm not going to speed read, though, I promise. So I'm here today to basically introduce you to a project. And this project is called Labor in a Single Shot. And Labor in a Single Shot is a video workshop that's been going on for the past 3 years, and that's now coming to an end. One could also say that it is an art project of truly global proportions. It's been organized by the German filmmaker Harun Farocki and the curator Antje Ehmann, and they've traveled to 15 cities around the world to conduct workshops that teach lay people how to make a 2-minute film about any kind of work, any kind of labor. Skilled labor, unskilled labor, recognized, unrecognized labor, full-time, part-time, legal, illegal, paid, unpaid. Anything basically that you can imagine. This project is inspired by what is one of film history's very first movies. This movie was called Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory, and it was made in the birth hour of movies in the year 1895. So that's how old the cinema is, 1895. And I was going to show you this film, but I think we're going to skip that. It's on YouTube. You can Google it and YouTube it. It's called Workers Leaving the Lumiere Factory. Now, this video workshop that I want to talk about has several purposes. It wants to celebrate the memory of this first film, Workers Leaving the Factory. And it also points to the history that the cinema actually shares with industrial labor and with industry. Movies emerged at the peak of industrialization in the late 19th century, and there has been a long, close relationship between the cinema and industry. And of course, as most of you know, the cinema itself is a big industry, especially in this country. But also, a purpose of this video workshop is, in this age of digital technology, where everyone, you and I, can make films, we should encourage people to find new topics for our films that include aspects of our work, or of the work of our friends or other people. Making people think about the fact that that work is something that we do all the time, and that we no longer distinguish so much between leisure time and work is something that, I think filmmaking actually is a great instrument to bring out. And art making and filmmaking as part of art making is in and of itself a form of work that involves both solitary and collective aspects, and that can be exciting and fulfilling, as I'm sure a lot of you already know. Even if you just pick up your cell phone and make a little movie on your cell phone, it is a form of work, and oftentimes it's a labor of love. So Farocki and Ehmann, our curators, have gone to 15 cities to teach filmmaking, and this global workshop has produced literally hundreds of films, many of which are uploaded on a website, and this website is here behind me. So I was told not to step away from the camera because of the recording. So this is the website, and it's actually openly accessible to all of you. Anyone can go on this website. And as you can see, it has several drop-down menus and search functions. One, for example, is the cities of the workshop. If you could maybe quickly click on the city function. So now you can see here the different towns, cities around the world in which these workshops were held. There's also a search function that we don't have to go into that organizes the whole thing according to what kinds of work, so you can look that up. And as you can see, when you go on the city, the website also gives you all kinds of statistical data about the city. What is the population? How many people, what is the working population? What is the situation of unions in that city? What are the major industries? So it's kind of a really interesting website. So in contrast to film history's first movie, Workers Leaving a Factory, the workshop videos on this website, of course, do look a bit different. They're not in black and white, they're in color. And the camera is not required to remain static, and many of the films, although not all of them, have sound. But like this first film history's first movie, these videos, one mandate was that they had to be short. None of them is longer than 2 minutes. And they had to be framed in a single unedited shot. And they had to depict some form of labor. Many of the videos explicitly depict a specific kind of work, but some also just show a work space or a work environment. And a lot of these videos are of a great variety, and so I want to just now show you a couple of these. So if we could go to the first one, to Mexico, to the one that's called Carpenter. Okay, so we'll skip the next one, but then the one that I want to show is a good example of how these films are really deceptively simple. You can see the camera focusing in on an activity, but the film in question may become visually very, very complex. And that's what I want to show you with this next example, which is from Buenos Aires, and it was filmed at the horse races and is called Ultraviolet.
Largaron el premio Ultraviolet. Asoma al frente por dentro el 1, viene a entablarle lucha 9, ha abierto el 10, más abierto el 11, descontado los primeros metros de la prueba, va dominando las acciones el 9, le entabla lucha, abierto el 10, más atrás gana terreno el 8, abierto el 11, por dentro queda el 1, más atrás se desempeña el 2, los competidores van a pasar por los 1000 metros, hay lucha en la vanguardia, por dentro el 9, abierto el 10, cabeza a cabeza, al pescuezo el 11, a medio cuerpo por dentro queda el 8, más atrás se desempeña por el centro de la pista el 5, el 12, más abierto viene a ganar terreno el 4. Van a dejar atrás la señal de los 800 metros. Se mantiene la lucha en la vanguardia. El 9, el 10, abierto el 4, cabeza a cabeza, cerca el 12, en línea con el 11. Por dentro se viene desempeñando en busca de los puestos de vanguardia el 13 y los competidores van a hacer el ingreso a la recta final. Lo están haciendo en estos instantes como puntero y por el lado exterior de la pista va dominando el 4, le entabla lucha el 12, viene cargando por el lado interior de la pista el 2, abierto se viene desempeñando el 10, más abierto en línea con el 9, faltando 350 metros para el disco, sigue la lucha de la vanguardia, 4 y 12, 12 y 4, cerca al 2, abierto, viene descontando terreno el 9, 250 metros para el disco, domina por el lado exterior de la pista el 9, estira ventaja sobre el 2, tercera ubicación para el 12, abierto el 4 en larga, atropellada el 6, 100 metros finales, 9, estira ventaja sobre el 2 que viene por dentro, carga rápidamente el 7, pocos metros, 9, con ventaja sobre el 2, el 7, el 6, y cruzar el disco.
All right. So the video maker here was able to incorporate multiple kinds of screens and visual surfaces in the small film, and sound obviously plays a very important role as well. I do want to show you a film where sound and image are in tension also in a very interesting way, because also this is a film that was made in the Boston workshop, about which I'm going to say something right after it. So this film, what's interesting to know about it is that it's called The Absence of Work.
We're down to hours before the U.S. government could shut down, and the fallout will be severe. And we're talking about facilities being closed and services being stopped, including many of them here in Massachusetts.
And the Eyewitness John Atwater is live for us this morning in Boston to break down where things stand this morning. John?
And Bianca, this morning it's not looking too good. Here in the city of Boston, things like tours of the Freedom Trail would shut down, so would a number of other services, and as we all know, that deadline is fast approaching. The clock is ticking toward a shutdown, but the halls of Congress this morning are eerily quiet. No negotiations, no emergency meetings. The bitter dispute now spilling out over the airwaves.
The president's the one saying, I will shut down government if you don't give me everything I want on Obamacare. It is wrong to do a shutdown of government as the lever to make change.
To keep the government open, House Republicans want to delay the health care law by a year and repeal a tax on some medical devices. But Senate Democrats and President Obama are refusing to budge.
Your hate for this president is coming before the love of this country, because if you love this country, you would not be closing it down.
We're fighting for the American people.
Without a breakthrough, a partial government shutdown takes effect at midnight. Roughly 800,000 federal workers will be told to stay home. Some government offices will close and services slowed down. It could delay first-time home mortgages, slow airport security lines, and even limit food safety inspections. Outside of Washington, many are simply fed up.
If they were to lose their paychecks like everybody else is going to lose their paychecks, that might motivate them to probably solve some of the problems that they're facing right now.
And a shutdown would not be cheap. The White House estimates it would cost about $2 billion.
Okay, so the absence of work, you can think about that, what that means in terms of the visuals and the sound. The Boston workshop was held in October 2013 and also included a couple of BU students. All the workshops were financed by the Goethe-Institute, which is a German cultural institute that has branches in many cities. The Boston Goethe-Institute is located at 170 Beacon Street in the Back Bay area and does cultural programming all year round. You should check it out if you are interested in any aspect related to German culture. In addition to being featured on this website, the videos of these 15 workshops are also going to be on display in several exhibitions. One is going to be in the city of Berlin, Germany, next February, but I take it that most of you are not going to be able to be there for that. But there are going to be two closing exhibitions for this workshop project in Boston here. So the first one is at the Mills Gallery in the South End on Tremont Street, which is part of the Boston Center for the Arts. And it starts this weekend. The exhibition starts this weekend and goes through the end of November. The second exhibition is going to be right across the street in the GSU at the BU George Sherman Gallery. And that will be from November 4th to December 12th. So you can see many of the videos in different forms in these two gallery exhibitions. The mills will have more space. They'll have wooden pedestals built where 15 monitors are encased, each one standing for one workshop city. The Sherman is called, the exhibit is called the Project Room, and will simply have a laptop and a projector where you can walk up and you can select one of the films and just play it for yourself. So I think I'm almost out of time. I was going to show you another film, but we're not going to be able to fit that in. I do want to mention one other thing that is one of the reasons that I've agreed to give this talk for. I've talked about film studies and studying film, and you can start to study film at BU this fall. We have a new undergraduate bachelor in cinema and media studies, jointly administered by COM and CAS, and we've launched this major now. If you are interested in cinema and media studies as an academic subject, come to my open hours, Shields Tower 504, every Tuesday night, 8 to 11. Thank you. So, any questions from anyone? Why doesn't someone ask if they want to see another film? We have 5 minutes, right, Daryl? So we could put one more film in. Yeah. So why don't we go to the Boston film, the last Boston film that's called Crane Shot. This is a film, a lot of the films are actually also using animals or depicting animals, which is interesting, but also often raises ethical questions. This one is on the funny side, so. Any other questions? To me, it's a great way of actually showing the basics of filmmaking, framing, and how much framing can do if you pick the frame and the subject really intelligently. So, yes.
Was there any reason in particular why they weren't shot in black and white?
I think the reason is that today's digital equipment, most of it just really comes in color, and people just chose color instead of black and white. Yes? No, I mean, I don't know if you could hear that from the back, but we had several films that used sound. I mean, the one with the photos being laid out of the palm tree, the sound was essential to it because it was all about the government shutdown, which was all about the stopping of work. And then the palm tree, is kind of like a vacation symbol. So the film is called The Absence of Work, and you had to kind of hear what the soundtrack was saying as well. Okay, yeah, okay, I'm getting this, so thank you.